Have you ever stopped in the quiet chambers of your own mind and asked yourself this one penetrating question? What am I truly willing to release in order to receive the abundance that is already mine by divine right? I want you to sit with that question. Let it settle into the depths of your being. Because tonight, or this morning, or wherever you find yourself in this eternal moment, you stand at the threshold of a revelation that has transformed the lives of thousands upon thousands of men and women across this earth. You see, the universe does not withhold from you. God does not deny you. The infinite intelligence that breathes life into every cell of your body, that spins the planets in their orbits, that causes the sun to rise without fail each morning, this same intelligence desires your prosperity. It desires your wealth. It desires your complete and total abundance. But here is the truth that so few are willing to hear. You must become a clear channel for this abundance to flow through you. And to become that clear channel, there are sacrifices you must make. Not sacrifices of blood, not sacrifices of suffering, but sacrifices of the old self, sacrifices of limitation, sacrifices of the thoughts, beliefs, and mental patterns that have kept you bound in financial chains of your own unconscious making. The Bible tells us in Romans 12:2, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." This is the great secret. This is the hidden wisdom. Transformation comes through the mind, through the sacrifice of the old way of thinking and the resurrection of a new consciousness of wealth. What I am about to share with you over these next hours is not mere information. It is not entertainment. It is a living transmission of spiritual law, the same law that governs the movement of wealth, the attraction of money, and the manifestation of prosperity in your life. If you receive these words into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, if you allow them to take root and grow, you will witness miracles of abundance that will astonish you. Before we begin this sacred journey together, I ask you to do something simple but powerful. Subscribe to this channel. Press that button now, and in doing so, make a commitment to your own transformation. Like this video as an affirmation that you are ready to receive wealth. And in the comments below, write these words: "I am ready to sacrifice limitation and receive my divine inheritance of abundance." Write it now, and watch as the universe responds to your declaration. Now let us begin. There is a law operating in this universe that is as exact, as precise, and as unfailing as the law of gravity. When you drop an object from your hand, it falls to the ground. It does not sometimes fall. It does not occasionally decide to float upward. It falls every single time because this is the nature of the law. You do not need to beg gravity to work. You do not need to plead with it or convince it. You simply need to understand it and work with it. The law of wealth operates in exactly the same manner. There's a principle of abundance woven into the very fabric of creation, and when you align yourself with this principle, wealth flows to you as naturally as water flows downhill. But here is where so many earnest seekers go astray. They try to manipulate the outer world without first transforming the inner world. They scramble and struggle and scheme, never realizing that the true source of all wealth lies within the depths of their own subconscious mind. I have witnessed this truth demonstrated thousands of times throughout my years of teaching and counseling. I have seen men and women who possessed every external advantage, education, connections, opportunity, yet who remained in perpetual financial struggle. And I have seen others who began with nothing, absolutely nothing by worldly standards, who rose to magnificent wealth and prosperity. The difference was never in their circumstances. The difference was always in their consciousness. Our subconscious mind is the treasure house of infinity. Within it lies the wisdom, the power, and the creative energy to manifest every good thing you could ever desire. But this subconscious mind is like a garden, and you are the gardener. Whatever seeds you plant through your habitual thinking, your emotional patterns, your deep-seated beliefs, these seeds will grow and produce after their kind. Plant seeds of lack, and you will harvest poverty. Plant seeds of abundance, and you will harvest wealth beyond measure. Florence Scovel Shinn, that remarkable teacher of spiritual truth, understood this principle with crystalline clarity. She taught that your word is your wand, that the thoughts you think and the words you speak are constantly molding and shaping your outer circumstances. She knew that every time you declare limitation, every time you speak of lack, every time you entertain thoughts of poverty, you are planting weeds in the garden of your subconscious mind. And those weeds will grow. They will multiply. They will choke out every possibility of abundance until you learn to uproot them at their source. This is why the first sacrifice you must make on the altar of wealth is the sacrifice of poverty thinking. This is not a small thing. This is not a minor adjustment. For most people, poverty thinking has become so habitual, so automatic, so deeply ingrained that they do not even recognize it as thinking. It has become the very atmosphere they breathe. It colors every perception. It influences every decision. It whispers constantly in the background of their minds, telling them that there is not enough, that money is hard to come by, that wealth is for others but not for them. Listen to me carefully now. These thoughts are not the truth. They are lies that have been accepted by your subconscious mind as truth, and because your subconscious mind always works to manifest whatever it believes to be true, these lies have created the very conditions of lack that seem to prove them right. This is the vicious cycle that keeps millions of souls imprisoned in financial bondage. But the cycle can be broken. It must be broken. and you are going to break it. Sacrifice of poverty thinking requires vigilance. It requires what the mystics call witnessing, the ability to observe your own thoughts as they arise without being swept away by them. When a thought of lack arises in your mind, you must catch it immediately. You must recognize it for what it is, a false belief, an old program, a mental habit that no longer serves you. And then you must consciously, deliberately replace it with a thought of abundance. If you catch yourself thinking, I cannot afford this, stop immediately and declare, the infinite riches of the universe are flowing to me now. I am abundantly supplied with every good thing. If you hear yourself saying, money is so hard to come by, correct yourself at once and affirm, money comes to me easily and effortlessly from expected and unexpected sources. This is not self-deception. This is not pretending. This is the scientific application of spiritual law. You are planting new seeds in the garden of your subconscious mind, and in due season, you will harvest a new crop. Neville Goddard, that brilliant mystic and teacher, spoke of this process as revision. He taught that you have the power to revise any thought, any memory, any belief that does not serve your highest good. The past has no power over you except the power you give it through your continued acceptance of its limiting interpretations. You can revise the story you have been telling yourself about money. You can revise your entire financial history in the realm of imagination. And as you do so, your subconscious mind will accept this new story as truth and begin to outpicture it in your experience. I want you to understand that your subconscious mind does not argue with you. It does not debate. It does not reason or analyze. It simply accepts whatever you impress upon it through repetition and emotional conviction, and then it goes to work manifesting that impression in the world of form. This is why it is so essential that you take conscious control of what you are impressing upon this powerful creative medium within you. The Bible speaks of this truth in so many ways. In Proverbs 23:7 we read, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Notice that the scripture does not say as a man thinketh in his head in his conscious reasoning mind. It says in his heart, and the heart in biblical symbolism always represents the subconscious mind, the seat of feeling and belief. What you truly believe in the depths of your being, that is what you become. That is what you experience. That is what manifests in every area of your life, including your finances. So I ask you now, what do you truly believe about money? Not what do you hope for, not what do you wish were true. What do you actually believe in the secret chambers of your subconscious mind? If you are honest with yourself, you may discover that you hold beliefs about money that are in direct contradiction to the life of abundance you say you want. Perhaps you were taught as a child that money is the root of all evil, though this is a misquoting of Scripture, which actually says that the love of money is the root of all evil, a very different teaching altogether. Perhaps you absorbed the belief that spiritual people should not be concerned with wealth, that there is something noble about poverty, that rich people are somehow less moral or less worthy than poor people. These beliefs are poison to your prosperity. They must be sacrificed on the altar of truth if you are ever to experience the abundant life that is your divine birthright. Let me tell you the truth about money and let this truth sink deep into your subconscious mind. Money is not evil. Money is not spiritual or unspiritual. Money is simply a symbol of exchange, a representation of the energy that flows between human beings as they serve one another. Money is condensed life force. It is crystallized appreciation. It is the material expression of the value you bring to the world. You have money, you have increased capacity to do good in the world. You can feed the hungry. You can clothe the naked. You can support causes you believe in. You can give generously to those in need. You can create businesses that provide employment and opportunity for others. You can commission works of art and beauty that elevate the human spirit. You can fund research and discovery that benefits all of humanity. Far from being evil, money in the hands of a person with a prosperity consciousness becomes a powerful instrument of blessing. Second sacrifice you must make is the sacrifice of fear. Fear is the great enemy of wealth. Fear contracts the mind. Fear closes the heart. Fear blocks the flow of good that is trying to reach you from every direction. When you are in a state of fear about money, fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of not having enough, you are sending a message to your subconscious mind that says scarcity is real, that lack is the truth, that danger lurks around every corner. Your subconscious mind, ever obedient, will create circumstances that confirm these fearful beliefs. I have counseled many people over the years who were trapped in a cycle of financial fear. They worried constantly about money. They lay awake at night imagining worst-case scenarios. They checked their bank accounts obsessively, watching every dollar with anxiety. They were afraid to spend, afraid to invest, afraid to take risks, afraid to ask for raises, afraid to charge what they were worth for their services. And in every case, their fear was creating the very conditions they most dreaded. Carl Jung, that great explorer of the unconscious mind, understood this principle deeply. He taught that what we resist persists, that the things we fight against and fear only grow stronger through our attention to them. He understood that the shadow, the unconscious part of ourselves that we try to deny and repress, does not disappear simply because we refuse to look at it. Instead, it gains power in the darkness and begins to manifest in our outer lives in ways we do not consciously choose. Fear of poverty is part of your shadow, and you must bring it into the light of conscious awareness if you are ever to be free of it. You must look directly at your financial fears, not to wallow in them, but to recognize them for what they are: illusions, phantoms, false beliefs that have no power over you except the power you give them through your continued attention and emotional investment. When you sacrifice fear on the altar of faith, something miraculous happens. The contraction in your mind relaxes, the closing of your heart reverses, the channels through which abundance flows into your life open wide. You begin to see opportunities you were blind to before. You begin to attract people and circumstances that support your prosperity. You begin to take actions that you were too frightened to take before, and the entire trajectory of your financial life shifts. The antidote to fear is faith. Not blind faith, not wishful thinking, but intelligent, understanding faith, faith based on your knowledge of spiritual law and your recognition of the infinite abundance of the universe. In Luke 12:32, Jesus said, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Let these words penetrate your heart. It is God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. The kingdom is not something you have to earn. It is not something you have to struggle for. It is not something that is withheld from you pending proof of your worthiness. It is your Father's good pleasure to give it to you. You truly accept this truth, fear dissolves like morning mist before the rising sun. You realize that the entire universe is conspiring on your behalf. You understand that the same intelligence that created all the wealth in the world is present within you, ready and willing to guide you into greater and greater abundance. You stop fighting against life and start flowing with the current of divine prosperity. Third sacrifice you must make is the sacrifice of resentment. This may surprise you, but resentment is one of the greatest blocks to financial prosperity that exists. When you carry resentment toward anyone, toward people who have wronged you, toward institutions that have treated you unfairly, toward wealthy people you perceive as having advantages you lack, toward the government, toward your parents, toward your employer, you are poisoning your own consciousness and blocking the flow of good into your life. Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It does nothing to harm the object of your resentment, but it devastates your own well-being, your own peace of mind, and yes, your own prosperity. When your mind is occupied with thoughts of grievance and injustice, there is no room for thoughts of abundance and opportunity. When your heart is closed in bitterness, it cannot open to receive the gifts that life is trying to give you. I have known people who refused to prosper because they believed that their financial struggles were someone else's fault. They blamed their parents for not giving them enough advantages. They blamed their employers for not paying them what they deserved. They blamed the economy, the government, the system. As long as they maintained this attitude of blame, they remained stuck in limitation, unable to move forward, unable to claim the prosperity that was waiting for them just beyond the barrier of their own resentment. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that unforgiveness is the great obstructor of good. She knew that you cannot demonstrate prosperity while holding grievances in your heart. The two states of consciousness are incompatible. One must yield to the other. Either you will release your resentments and open yourself to abundance, or you will cling to your resentments and remain in lack. Sacrifice of resentment is an act of self-liberation. When you forgive those who have wronged you, you are not saying that what they did was acceptable. You are not condoning their behavior. You are simply releasing yourself from the chains that bind you to the past. You are freeing up the mental and emotional energy that was being consumed by grievance, making that energy available for creative, prosperous purposes. There's a method I have taught many times that is extremely effective for releasing resentment. I want you to use it now. Think of someone toward whom you have held resentment, someone whose very memory brings up feelings of anger, hurt, or injustice. See this person clearly in your mind's eye, and now, silently or aloud, speak these words: "I forgive you completely and freely. I release you and let you go. I wish for you health, happiness, peace, and prosperity. All the good that belongs to you is coming to you now. I am free and you are free. It is finished." Repeat this exercise daily for every person toward whom you have held resentment, until you feel the burden lift from your heart. You will know when the work is complete because you will be able to think of these people without any emotional charge, without any tightness in your chest, without any desire for revenge or vindication. And when this happens, you will find that new channels of prosperity begin to open in your life as if by magic. The fourth sacrifice you must make is the sacrifice of excuses. Oh, how beloved are our excuses! We cherish them, nurture them, repeat them to ourselves and others until they become the very justification for our lives of limitation. We say, "I would be wealthy, but I did not have the right education." We say, "I would be prosperous, but I came from the wrong background." We say, "I would be successful, but I am too old, too young, too uneducated, too educated, the wrong gender, the wrong race, in the wrong place at the wrong time." Every one of these excuses is a lie. Every one of them is a denial of the infinite power that lies within you. Every one of them is an insult to the creative intelligence that made you and that lives in you and through you at this very moment. Napoleon Hill, who spent over 20 years studying the habits of the most successful people in America, came to a startling conclusion. He discovered that many of the greatest achievers had started with tremendous disadvantages: poverty, lack of education, physical disabilities, family dysfunction. Yet they had refused to allow these circumstances to define their destinies. They had sacrificed their excuses on the altar of determination and had gone on to build fortunes, create industries, and change the world. What excuse are you holding on to right now that is keeping you from your wealth? I want you to identify it. Bring it into the light of your conscious awareness. Look at it clearly and recognize it for what it is: a story you have been telling yourself, a limitation you have been accepting as truth, a barrier you have been using as protection against the challenge of growth and the risk of expansion. Now sacrifice it. Let it go. Declare that you are done with that excuse forever. Say to yourself, I release this excuse completely. It has no power over me. I am created in the image and likeness of the infinite, and there is no limitation in the infinite. I move forward now into greater and greater prosperity. Your subconscious mind has been programmed by your excuses. Every time you repeated an excuse, you were impressing it deeper into your subconscious, making it more firmly established as your truth. Now you must reprogram your subconscious with new affirmations of power and possibility. Every time the old excuse arises, and it will, for habits of thought do not disappear overnight, you must immediately replace it with its opposite, with a declaration of your infinite potential and your divine right to prosper. The fifth sacrifice you must make is the sacrifice of doubt. Doubt is the silent killer of dreams. It operates in the shadows of your mind, undermining your faith, questioning your vision, whispering that nothing will work out, that prosperity is not meant for you, that you have tried before and failed, so why should this time be any different? Doubt is a form of negative prayer. When you doubt, you are impressing your subconscious mind with the image of failure. You are planting seeds of disappointment. You are rehearsing defeat in the theater of your imagination, and your subconscious mind, that faithful servant, will bring forth exactly what you have planted. Jesus addressed this principle directly when he said in Matthew 21:21, If ye have faith and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. Notice carefully the words, and doubt not. Faith alone is not sufficient. Faith must be pure, undiluted by doubt. The moment you begin to doubt, you neutralize the power of your faith. You create a divided consciousness that cannot manifest your desires. Neville Goddard taught that the secret to successful manifestation lies in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must enter into the state of consciousness that you would occupy if your desire were already realized. You must think from the end, not toward the end. You must feel the reality of your wealth now, not as a future possibility, but as a present fact. Doubt makes this impossible. When doubt enters, it pulls you out of the assumption and back into the limitations of current circumstances. It says, This is not real. You are just pretending. Look around you. Where is the evidence of your wealth? And if you listen to this voice, if you give it your attention and agreement, you collapse the manifestation before it has a chance to crystallize into form. The sacrifice of doubt is not a one-time event. It is a moment-by-moment practice. Every time doubt arises, you must choose faith. Every time the voice of limitation speaks, you must answer with the voice of infinite possibility. This requires discipline. This requires vigilance. This requires a commitment to your own prosperity that is stronger than the habit of doubt. One technique I have found extremely helpful is to keep a record of demonstrations. Write down every instance in which your subconscious mind has manifested something you desired, no matter how small. Write down every synchronicity, every unexpected check, every fortuitous meeting, every door that opened without your effort. As you build this record, you create evidence for your faith. You show yourself, through your own experience, that the law works. And this evidence becomes a weapon against doubt, a reminder that the same power that worked before will work again. There's a story I have told many times because it illustrates so perfectly the power of faith over doubt. A woman came to me years ago in great financial distress. She had lost her job, fallen behind on her rent, and was facing eviction. She was consumed with fear and doubt. She did not see any way out of her circumstances and had come to me as a last resort. I instructed her to sacrifice her doubt on the altar of faith. I taught her to affirm several times each day, Infinite intelligence opens the right doors for me. My good comes to me now through channels I cannot yet see. I am divinely guided and prospered. I told her to speak these words with feeling, to feel the reality of their truth, to let them sink deep into her subconscious mind. First, she doubted. She told me that she had been praying without result, that she had asked God for help, and nothing had happened. I explained to her that it was precisely her doubt that had been blocking the answer to her prayers. Her conscious request for help was being canceled out by her subconscious conviction that no help would come. She was trying to move forward while pressing on the brakes. She was desperate enough to try something new. She began to practice the affirmation faithfully, and every time doubt arose, she would reject it and return to her declaration of faith. Within 3 weeks, she received a job offer from a company she had applied to months earlier and had long since given up on. The salary was higher than any she had ever earned. Within a month, she had caught up on her rent and was building savings for the first time in her life. This is not a fairy tale. This is the scientific application of spiritual law. This is what becomes possible when you sacrifice doubt and establish yourself firmly in faith. Sixth sacrifice is the sacrifice of attachment. This is a subtle teaching, and I want you to receive it with understanding. Many seekers on the path of prosperity make the mistake of becoming attached to specific outcomes, attached to particular sums of money, attached to particular channels through which wealth must come, attached to particular timelines and deadlines. And this attachment, paradoxically, blocks the very manifestation they seek. When you are attached, you are in a state of tension. You are gripping, grasping, trying to control. And this state of consciousness is the opposite of the receptive, allowing state in which abundance flows freely. The tighter you hold, the less you receive. The more you try to force outcomes, the more they elude you. The Bible speaks of this truth when it says in Matthew 6:33, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Notice that you are not told to seek the things directly. You are told to seek the kingdom, the state of consciousness, the inner realization of your oneness with the infinite, and then the things will be added. When you are established in the consciousness of abundance, when you feel wealthy regardless of current circumstances, when you trust completely in the infinite supply of the universe, then wealth flows to you without strain or struggle. This does not mean you should not have desires. Desire is the beginning of all creation. Without desire, there would be no movement, no manifestation, no experience. But there is a difference between desire and attachment. Desire is an opening, a reaching towards something new. Attachment is a closing, a clinging, a fear of not having. You can desire wealth passionately while releasing all attachment to how and when it must come. You can hold your vision of prosperity clearly in mind while trusting that the infinite knows the perfect channels and the perfect timing for its manifestation. This is the state of consciousness in which miracles happen. This is the mental attitude of the master manifester. Florence Scovel Shinn called this active faith with loose hands. You do everything in your power, you take action, you affirm, you visualize, you give thanks, and then you let go. You release your desire into the hands of the infinite, trusting that it is being fulfilled in ways that are far better than anything you could have planned with your limited conscious mind. Oh, many people defeat themselves by trying to control the how. They decide that wealth must come through this particular business, this particular investment, this particular job. And when that specific channel does not produce the expected result, they become discouraged and give up. But the infinite has infinite ways of prospering you. The channel you have fixed your mind upon may not be the best channel at all. There may be a path opening even now that you know nothing about, a door swinging open in a direction you never expected. When you sacrifice attachment, you open yourself to the full creativity of the universe working on your behalf. You allow yourself to be surprised by good. You become available for blessings that exceed anything you could have imagined or asked for. I remember a man who came to me determined that his wealth would come through a particular real estate investment. He had analyzed everything, calculated his returns, and was absolutely certain that this was his path to prosperity. But the deal fell through. He was devastated. He felt that his chance at wealth had been snatched away from him. I counseled him to sacrifice his attachment to that specific outcome and to open himself to the infinite possibilities of the universe. He resisted at first, but eventually, he accepted the wisdom of releasing and trusting. Within 6 months, an opportunity came to him that he never could have anticipated, an opportunity that led to far greater wealth than the original real estate investment would ever have produced. Looking back, he could see that the falling through of the original deal was not a failure, but a divine redirection toward a greater good. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust the infinite intelligence that is guiding your life and conspiring for your prosperity. Sacrifice your attachment, and you will receive far more than you ever released. As we continue this journey together through the sacred mysteries of wealth manifestation, let these truths sink deep into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. You are not merely learning information. You are undergoing a transformation of consciousness. You are dying to the old self that believed in limitation and being reborn as the prosperous child of the infinite that you truly are. The seventh sacrifice is the sacrifice of your old identity. This is perhaps the most profound sacrifice of all, for it requires nothing less than a complete revolution in the way you see yourself. Who have you believed yourself to be? Have you thought of yourself as a struggling person, someone for whom money is always tight, someone who just cannot seem to get ahead? Have you identified with lack so completely that poverty has become not just your circumstance but your identity? If so, this identity must be sacrificed. It must die so that your true self, your wealthy, prosperous, infinitely abundant self, can be resurrected in its place. You are not who you think you are. You are not the sum of your past experiences. You are not defined by your current bank balance or your present circumstances. You are an individualized expression of the infinite, endowed with all the qualities and potentialities of the Creator. You are heir to the kingdom. You are destined for abundance. But you will never experience this abundance as long as you continue to identify with lack. Your identity shapes your reality. Your concept of self determines what you can receive. If you see yourself as poor, the universe will reflect poverty back to you. If you see yourself as wealthy, the universe will reflect wealth. This is the deepest meaning of the teaching. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your deep, subconscious belief about who you are is constantly being outpictured in your experience. Change that belief, and you change your life. Neville Goddard taught this truth with remarkable clarity. He said that the secret to transformation is to assume the identity of the person you wish to become. Do not try to get wealth. Become wealthy. Do not try to attract prosperity. Be prosperous. Let your consciousness shift from the state of wanting to the state of having. Let your sense of self expand from the small, limited creature of circumstance to the vast, powerful being of infinite creative potential that you truly are. This shift in identity is the master key to all manifestation. It is the point at which all the other sacrifices converge. When you release poverty thinking, fear, resentment, excuses, doubt, and attachment, what remains? What is left when all the limitations fall away? Your true self, the self that was present before you learned to believe in lack, the self that will remain long after every limiting belief has been dissolved. Feel yourself now as this true self. Feel the reality of your wealth not as something you are hoping for in the future, but as something you are experiencing right now. Let the feeling of abundance fill your entire being. Let it flow through your mind, your heart, your body. This is not wishful thinking. This is the assumption of your divine identity. This is the sacrifice of the old self and the resurrection of the new. Know this with certainty. As you maintain this new identity, as you hold to this consciousness of wealth with persistence and faith, your outer world will conform to your inner vision. It must. This is the law. The subconscious mind always manifests the dominant beliefs of its host. When your dominant belief is prosperity, prosperity is what you will experience. Remember always that the power within you is infinitely greater than any circumstance you will ever face. The same creative intelligence that formed the universe is present within your subconscious mind, ready to manifest every desire that is held in faith. You are not alone in this journey. You are supported, guided, and loved by an infinite presence that wants nothing more than your complete and total flourishing. Go forward now with courage. Make the sacrifices that are asked of you. Release the limitations that have held you bound, and step into the abundant life that has always been waiting for you, that is even now calling you forward into greater and greater expressions of prosperity. Your wealth is not a distant dream. It is a present reality waiting to be recognized and claimed. Claim it now. It is yours. The journey we have undertaken together is not merely an intellectual exercise. It is a living initiation into the deeper mysteries of prosperity consciousness. As you have absorbed the truths presented in the first portion of our time together, seeds have been planted in the rich soil of your subconscious mind. These seeds are even now germinating, preparing to break through the surface of your experience and bloom into manifestations of abundance that will transform every aspect of your life. But the work is not yet complete. There are depths still to explore, revelations still to receive, and powers still to awaken within you. So let us continue this sacred journey with renewed dedication and an ever-deepening faith in the infinite generosity of the universe. I want to speak to you now about the nature of sacrifice itself, for there is a profound misunderstanding about this word that has caused untold suffering and has kept many sincere seekers trapped in limitation. When most people hear the word sacrifice, they think of loss. They think of giving up something precious, of deprivation, of suffering. They imagine that the path to wealth requires them to become ascetics, to deny themselves pleasure, to punish themselves into prosperity. Nothing could be further from the truth. The sacrifices I have outlined for you are not losses at all. They are liberations. When you sacrifice poverty thinking, you are not losing something valuable. You are releasing a mental poison that has been making you sick. When you sacrifice fear, you are not giving up a treasure. You are throwing off chains that have kept you imprisoned. When you sacrifice resentment, excuses, doubt, attachment, and your old limited identity, you are not impoverishing yourself. You are enriching yourself beyond measure. True sacrifice is the release of the lesser to make room for the greater. It is the clearing away of debris so that the sunlight of abundance can finally reach you. It is the emptying of a vessel that has been filled with stagnant water so that it can be refilled with living water from the infinite spring of divine supply. The ancient wisdom traditions understood this deeply. They knew that you cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. The old must be released before the new can be received. Your old beliefs about money, your old fears, your old resentments, your old excuses, your old doubts, your old attachments, your old identity, these are the old wineskins. They cannot contain the new wine of prosperity consciousness. They must be sacrificed, lovingly and willingly, so that you can become a fit vessel for the abundance that is seeking to flow into your life. And here is the beautiful truth that I want you to receive with every fiber of your being. The sacrifice is not difficult when you truly understand what you are gaining in exchange. Would you hesitate to release a handful of pebbles if you knew that by doing so you would receive a chest of diamonds? Would you cling to rags if silk robes were being offered to you? Would you fight to keep your chains if the door of your prison stood open before you? The only reason sacrifice feels difficult is because we do not yet fully believe in what we are being offered. We have become so accustomed to limitation that we cannot quite trust the promise of abundance. We have been disappointed so many times that we fear to hope again. We have been conditioned by a world that teaches scarcity at every turn, and so we grip our meager possessions with white knuckles, terrified of having even less. But I tell you today, in the name of every spiritual master who has ever walked this earth, in the name of the infinite intelligence that created you and sustains you and loves you unconditionally, there is no scarcity. There has never been scarcity. Scarcity is a lie, a hallucination, a bad dream from which you are now awakening. The universe is infinitely abundant. The supply of the infinite is inexhaustible. There is more than enough for everyone, including you. This is not wishful thinking. This is the literal truth of existence. Look at nature and see how lavishly it produces. One apple tree produces thousands of apples, each containing seeds for countless more trees. One dandelion releases hundreds of seeds on the wind. One drop of ocean water contains billions of microscopic organisms. The universe is not stingy. It is wildly, extravagantly, almost recklessly generous. This same generosity is available to you. It is trying to reach you even now. It is pressing against the barriers of your limiting beliefs, seeking entry into your experience. All you must do is remove the barriers. All you must do is make the sacrifices that clear the channel. All you must do is say yes to the abundance that is your birthright. Let us go deeper now into the practical application of these principles. For knowledge without application is like a lamp that is never lit. It holds potential, but sheds no light. I want you not merely to understand these truths, but to live them, to embody them, to make them the foundation of your daily experience. First practice I want to give you is the practice of prosperity affirmation. This is not a one-time exercise, but a daily discipline, a sacred ritual that you will perform morning and evening for the rest of your life. Upon awakening each morning, before your feet touch the floor, before the concerns of the day begin to crowd into your mind, you will speak words of abundance to yourself. You will declare with feeling and conviction the truth of your prosperity. Speak these words now and let them become part of your daily practice. I am one with the infinite riches of the universe. Money flows to me freely, easily, and abundantly. I am a magnet for wealth. I attract prosperity in all its forms. Every day, in every way, I am becoming richer and richer. The abundance of the infinite is mine now. I give thanks for my ever-increasing wealth. These words may feel strange at first. They may even feel false, especially if your current circumstances seem to contradict them. But remember what I have taught you. Your subconscious mind accepts whatever you impress upon it with repetition and feeling, and then it goes to work manifesting that impression in your outer world. When you affirm abundance consistently, you are reprogramming your subconscious from lack to plenty, from poverty to prosperity, from limitation to infinite possibility. Napoleon Hill, in his extensive research into the habits of successful people, discovered that every one of them had developed the practice of autosuggestion, the deliberate impressing of thoughts upon the subconscious mind through repetition. He found that this was not optional but essential, not a nice addition, but an absolute requirement for the achievement of wealth and success. Those who mastered autosuggestion prospered. Those who neglected it remained in mediocrity regardless of their other qualities. Evening practice is equally important. Before you drift into sleep, your conscious mind relaxes its guard, and your subconscious mind becomes especially receptive to suggestion. This is a sacred time, a time of tremendous creative power. Whatever thoughts and feelings you hold as you cross the threshold into sleep will work upon your subconscious throughout the night, organizing your inner resources toward their manifestation. Never go to sleep in a state of worry about money. Never let financial fears be the last thoughts of your day. Instead, deliberately cultivate the feeling of abundance. Imagine yourself surrounded by wealth. Feel the security of having more than enough. See yourself living in the home of your dreams, driving the car of your choosing, giving generously to causes you believe in, enjoying the freedom that prosperity brings. Let these images and feelings fill your mind as you drift into sleep, and your subconscious will work on them all through the night, drawing to you the circumstances, opportunities, and resources needed to make them manifest. Second practice is the practice of prosperity visualization. This goes beyond affirmation into the realm of imagination, which is the creative workshop of the subconscious mind. Everything that has ever been created by human beings was first imagined. The building you sit in began as a vision in an architect's mind. The clothes you wear began as a design in a fashion creator's imagination. The device on which you may be watching this began as a concept in an inventor's consciousness. Imagination is the blueprint that the universe uses to construct your reality. Neville Goddard was the supreme master of this teaching. He understood that imagination is not merely a mental faculty but a divine power, a godlike capacity to create worlds. He taught that when you imagine vividly and with feeling, you are not merely daydreaming. You are actually entering into a state of consciousness that already exists in the infinite mind of God. You are experiencing, in imagination, a reality that is just as real as the reality you currently perceive with your physical senses. And by persisting in that imaginal experience, By returning to it again and again with faith and conviction, you draw it across the bridge from the invisible to the visible, from the potential to the actual. I want you to create a prosperity scene that you will return to daily in your imagination. Choose a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire for wealth. Perhaps you are looking at a bank statement showing a balance that thrills you. Perhaps you are walking through the home of your dreams, running your hands along the smooth surfaces, gazing out the windows at a magnificent view. Perhaps you are signing papers to purchase a business of your own. Perhaps you are writing a check to a charity for an amount that demonstrates your abundance. Whatever scene you choose, make sure it is specific, sensory, and implies the fulfillment of your desire. Now each day, preferably upon awakening and before sleep, enter into this scene. Close your eyes, relax your body, and see the scene as vividly as you can. But do not observe it from the outside as if watching a movie. Enter into it. Be the person in the scene. See through those prosperous eyes. Touch with those wealthy hands. Feel the emotions that you would feel if this scene were happening right now. Feeling is the key. You must feel the reality of your prosperity. You must feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude, the freedom, the confidence that comes with having all the money you desire. The subconscious mind responds not to images alone, but to images charged with emotion. When you combine a clear mental picture with a deep feeling of its reality, you create a powerful impression that your subconscious must manifest. Lawrence Scovel Shinn understood this power of the spoken word combined with feeling. She taught her students to make their declarations with conviction, to speak their word as though it were already accomplished, to give thanks for the fulfillment even before it appeared in the visible realm. She knew that this kind of prophetic speech, backed by feeling and faith, sets into motion the invisible forces that shape visible conditions. The third practice is the practice of prosperity giving. This may seem counterintuitive. If you are seeking to increase your wealth, why would I tell you to give money away? But this is one of the most powerful prosperity secrets ever revealed, and those who understand it and apply it never want for money again. Universe operates on the principle of circulation. Everything in nature flows. Water flows from the mountains to the sea, evaporates into clouds, falls as rain, and flows again. Blood flows through your body, bringing nourishment and removing waste, never stopping, always circulating. Air flows in and out of your lungs, bringing life with each breath. And money, which is a form of energy, must also flow if it is to remain healthy and increase. When you hoard money, when you grip it tightly out of fear, you stop the flow. You dam the river. And what happens to water that is dammed and stagnant? It becomes foul. It loses its life-giving properties. It breeds disease. The same thing happens to money that is hoarded. It loses its power to bless. It becomes a source of anxiety rather than joy. It diminishes rather than increases. When you give freely and joyfully, you open the channels of circulation. You demonstrate to your subconscious mind that you trust in the infinite supply. You affirm that you are a channel through which abundance flows, not a reservoir in which it stagnates. And as you give, you create a vacuum that the universe rushes to fill. The more you give, the more you receive. This is not mere metaphor. This is spiritual law. The Bible speaks of this law in many places. In Luke 6:38 we read, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again." Notice the promise, not merely that you will receive an equal measure to what you give, but that you will receive an overflowing abundance, pressed down and running over. This law works with mathematical precision, but it is not merely a technique for getting. If you give only in order to get, if your giving is merely a strategy for increasing your own wealth, you have missed the spirit of the teaching. True giving flows from a consciousness of abundance, from a recognition that you have more than enough, from a genuine desire to bless others. When you give from this consciousness, you are living in accordance with the deepest nature of the universe, which is generosity itself. Begin where you are. If you have little, give a little. If you have much, give much. But give something regularly and joyfully and watch how the universe responds. Give to individuals who are in need. Give to organizations doing good work. Give to causes that stir your heart. Give without demanding recognition. Give without expecting return. And yet, paradoxically, return will come to you, often from channels you never expected, often in amounts far exceeding what you gave. I have witnessed this law demonstrated countless times. A woman came to me once who was barely making ends meet. She was terrified of giving because she felt she had nothing to spare. I encouraged her to begin tithing, giving 10% of whatever she received to spiritual work or charitable causes. She resisted at first, arguing that she could not afford it. I told her that she could not afford not to do it, that her very poverty was evidence that she had been blocking the law of circulation. With great reluctance, she began to tithe, and within a few months her income had increased by far more than the amount she was giving. New opportunities appeared. Unexpected money came to her from sources she could not have predicted. Within a year, she was earning more than she had ever earned in her life, and her giving had become one of her greatest joys. This is not an isolated story. This is the consistent experience of everyone who applies the law of giving with faith and consistency. The universe is not mocked. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. Sow generosity, and you will reap abundance. Fourth practice is the practice of prosperity gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces in the universe for attracting good into your life. When you are in a state of genuine gratitude, you are vibrating at a high frequency that attracts more of what you are grateful for. When you are in a state of complaint and dissatisfaction, you are vibrating at a low frequency that attracts more of what you are complaining about. This is not mere psychology, though psychology confirms it. This is spiritual law. The energy you emit is the energy that returns to you. Gratitude emits an energy of abundance, of having, of appreciation for what is. And this energy magnetizes more abundance, more having, more to appreciate. Begin each day by counting your blessings. Before you get out of bed, think of at least 10 things for which you are grateful. They do not have to be large things. They can be as simple as the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the food in your refrigerator, the warmth of your blankets. The size of the blessing does not matter. What matters is the feeling of gratitude that fills your heart as you contemplate it. And throughout the day, look for more things to appreciate. When something good happens, no matter how small, pause and give thanks. When you receive money from any source in any amount, pause and give thanks. When a door opens, an opportunity appears, a kind word is spoken, pause and give thanks. Train yourself to become a gratitude seeker, always looking for more to appreciate. And here is a powerful secret that will accelerate your prosperity beyond measure. Give thanks in advance for the wealth that is coming to you. Do not wait until you see it in your bank account. Do not wait until it manifests in physical form. Thank God now for the abundance that is on its way. Thank the universe now for the prosperity that is even now moving toward you through channels seen and unseen. When you give thanks in advance, you demonstrate supreme faith. You show your subconscious mind that you believe so completely in your coming prosperity that you are willing to feel grateful for it before it arrives. And this faith, this advanced gratitude, accelerates the manifestation powerfully. It tells the universe that you are ready to receive. It opens the doors of your consciousness wide. Jesus demonstrated this principle when he gave thanks over the loaves and fishes before they multiplied. He did not wait to see the multiplication and then offer thanks. He gave thanks first, in the faith that the abundance would appear. And the abundance did appear, more than enough to feed the multitude with baskets left over. This is the power of advanced gratitude. This is the magic of thanking God before the manifestation. The fifth practice is the practice of prosperity expectation. Expectation is a form of faith that carries tremendous creative power. What you expect, you tend to receive. When you expect good, you open yourself to good. When you expect lack, you close yourself to abundance. Your expectations are instructions to your subconscious mind about what to create. I want you to cultivate a powerful, positive expectation of prosperity. Expect money to come to you. Expect opportunities to appear. Expect doors to open. Expect the universe to support you in every way. Expect your prosperity affirmations and visualizations to manifest. Expect your giving to be returned to you multiplied. Expect your gratitude to attract more to be grateful for. This is not wishful thinking. This is deliberate creation. You are not hoping that things might work out. You are expecting them to work out because you know the law and you know that the law never fails. When you plant seeds of prosperity in your subconscious mind through affirmation, visualization, giving, and gratitude, you can expect a harvest. This is as certain as the fact that spring follows winter, as certain as the fact that seeds planted in good soil will grow. Carl Jung spoke of what he called the prospective function of the unconscious, the capacity of the deeper mind to anticipate and prepare for future events. When you hold a positive expectation, you are activating this prospective function, directing it toward the manifestation of your desires. Your subconscious mind begins to organize your thoughts, feelings, perceptions, and behaviors in alignment with your expectation. You begin to notice opportunities you would have missed before. You begin to take actions that lead toward your goal. You begin to attract people and circumstances that support your prosperity. But if your expectation is negative, if you are always waiting for the other shoe to drop, if you expect life to be hard and money to be scarce, your subconscious mind will organize your experience around that expectation instead. You will overlook opportunities. You will sabotage yourself in subtle ways. You will attract circumstances that confirm your negative beliefs. Expectation is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Make sure your prophecy is one of abundance. Sixth practice is the practice of prosperity action. Everything I have taught you about the inner work of wealth manifestation is essential, but it must be complemented by action in the outer world. You cannot sit in a corner affirming and visualizing while taking no steps toward your goals and expect money to fall from the sky. The universe responds to those who meet it halfway. Faith without works is dead, as the scripture tells us. When you have done the inner work, you must then take the inspired action that your subconscious mind reveals to you. You must follow the hunches, the promptings, the intuitive guidance that arises from within. You must be willing to do what needs to be done, to go where you need to go, to speak to who you need to speak to take the risks that need to be taken. But here is the crucial difference between action that comes from fear and action that comes from faith. Action from fear is frantic, desperate, forced. It comes from a sense of lack and struggle. It burns you out and often leads nowhere. Action from faith is inspired, energized, flowing. It comes from a sense of alignment and possibility. It feels like cooperation with the universe rather than a battle against it. When you have done the inner work of prosperity, you will find that the right actions become clear. Doors will open and you will know to walk through them. Ideas will come and you will know to act on them. People will appear and you will know to engage with them. This is the guidance of infinite intelligence, and it will never fail you if you listen and obey. Napoleon Hill called this infinite intelligence by various names: the mastermind, the sixth sense, the creative imagination. He recognized that beyond the conscious reasoning mind lies a deeper source of wisdom that has access to knowledge beyond anything we could figure out on our own. When you align yourself with this intelligence through the practices I have outlined, you gain access to guidance that leads you unerringly toward your prosperity. Seventh practice is the practice of prosperity persistence. This may be the most important practice of all, for it determines whether you will succeed or fail in your manifestation. Many people begin the work with enthusiasm. They affirm, visualize, give, express gratitude, expect good, and take action. But when results do not appear immediately, they become discouraged. They begin to doubt. They give up just before the breakthrough. I want you to understand something about the nature of manifestation. There is always a time delay between the inner work and the outer result. Seeds do not sprout the moment they are planted. There is an incubation period during which invisible processes are taking place beneath the surface. The same is true of the seeds you plant in your subconscious mind. They need time to germinate, to send down roots, to gather strength before breaking through into visible form. During this incubation period, your faith will be tested. Circumstances may seem unchanged or even worse. Doubts will arise. Fears will whisper their old familiar lies. People around you may mock your efforts or try to discourage you. Everything will seem to conspire to make you give up. You must not give up. You must persist. You must hold to your vision with unshakable determination. You must continue to affirm and visualize and give and express gratitude and expect good and take inspired action regardless of what your physical senses tell you. This is the test. This is where the separation occurs between those who manifest their dreams and those who remain forever wishing. The Bible speaks of this necessity in Galatians 6:9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Notice the conditional phrase, if we faint not. The harvest is certain, but only for those who persist until it comes. If you faint, if you give up, if you lose heart, you forfeit the harvest that was even then preparing to appear. Lawrence Scovel Shinn told her students to stand firm in their word, to refuse to be moved by appearances, to keep their faith fixed on the invisible reality of their desire rather than the visible conditions of the moment. She knew that appearances are deceiving, that the visible world is always the last to change, that circumstances are echoes of past consciousness and will shift only when the inner consciousness has been established in a new pattern. Oh, persist, beloved. Persist through the delays. Persist through the doubts. Persist through the appearances of failure. Your prosperity is coming. It is even now on its way. The universe is reorganizing itself to accommodate your vision. Unseen forces are moving in your favor. All that is required of you is to keep the faith, to maintain the consciousness, to persist until the manifestation appears. I want to speak now about the nature of wealth itself. For many seekers have a limited concept of prosperity that actually blocks them from receiving the fullness of abundance. When I speak of wealth, I am not speaking only of money, though money is certainly included. True wealth encompasses every good thing that makes life rich and meaningful: health, love, creativity, wisdom, peace of mind, meaningful work, deep relationships, spiritual connection, and yes, material abundance in all its forms. You pursue wealth with this broader understanding, you align yourself with the flow of all good. You become a person who attracts blessings on every level. Your prosperity is not one-dimensional but multidimensional. You do not become rich in money but poor in health, or successful in career but bankrupt in relationships. You experience the abundant life in its fullness, lacking nothing that contributes to your well-being and happiness. The scripture in John 10:10 expresses this beautifully. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. Notice that Jesus does not say he came to give abundant money only, or abundant health only, or abundant relationships only. He says abundant life, life in all its dimensions, overflowing with every good thing. This is your birthright. This is what you were created to experience. Not a life of lack and struggle and barely getting by, but a life of abundance and ease and more than enough. Not a life of worry and fear and anxiety, but a life of trust and peace and confident expectation. Not a life of loneliness and isolation, but a life of rich connection and deep love. This is the abundant life. This is what the infinite desires for you. This is what is available to you the moment you open yourself to receive it. As we approach the conclusion of our time together, I want to leave you with a vision of who you truly are and what is truly possible for you. You are not a limited creature of flesh and bone, struggling to survive in a hostile universe. You are an eternal spiritual being, an individualized expression of the infinite, endowed with godlike powers of creation. The same mind that holds the galaxies in their courses operates through you. The same intelligence that beats your heart and grows your cells is available to guide you into all prosperity. You have never been alone. You have never been separate from the source of all abundance. The appearance of separation was an illusion, a forgetting, a temporary obscuring of your true nature. But now you are remembering. Now the veil is lifting. Now you are awakening to the truth of your infinite richness. Sacrifices you make on the path of prosperity are not losses but liberations. Each limiting belief you release, each fear you overcome, each resentment you forgive, each excuse you abandon, each doubt you dissolve, each attachment you surrender, each old identity you shed, these are not deprivations but doorways. Through each doorway you enter into a larger experience of your own being. Through each doorway you claim more of your divine inheritance. Your divine inheritance is everything. The kingdom of heaven is yours. The fullness of the earth is yours. The unlimited supply of the infinite is yours. You were born to be rich. You were created for abundance. Every cell of your body was designed to thrive. Every faculty of your mind was given to you for the purpose of creating a prosperous life. Believe this, accept this. Let this truth sink so deep into your subconscious mind that it becomes your fundamental orientation to life. You are prosperous. Not you will be prosperous someday. Not you might be prosperous if you are lucky. Not you could be prosperous if circumstances change. You are prosperous now in this moment in the very depth of your being. Your outer circumstances may not yet reflect this inner truth, but they will. They must. The law guarantees it. Go forth now as a prophet of your own prosperity. Speak words of abundance into being. See visions of wealth and claim them as done. Give generously and receive graciously. Express gratitude for all that you have and all that is coming. Expect the best and watch it appear. Take inspired action and trust the guidance you receive. Persist through every challenge with unshakable faith. The universe is on your side. God wants you to prosper. The infinite intelligence within you knows exactly how to manifest your every desire. All that is required of you is to align yourself with this intelligence through the practices I have taught you, to make the sacrifices that clear the channel, and to receive with open arms the abundance that is rushing toward you even now. I leave you with this blessing and this promise. As you apply these teachings faithfully, as you persist in the inner work while taking inspired outer action, you will see transformation in your financial life that will astonish you. Doors will open that you did not know existed. Money will come to you from sources you could not have predicted. Opportunities will appear that perfectly match your desires and abilities. People will be drawn into your life who support your prosperity. Ideas will flash into your mind that lead to wealth and success. This is not fantasy. This is the consistent experience of all who have walked this path before you. This is the promise of every spiritual master who has taught the law of abundance. This is the testimony of Florence Scovel Shinn and Neville Goddard and Napoleon Hill and countless others who discovered these truths and applied them with faith. And now it is your turn. Now you have been given the keys. Now the door stands open before you. Walk through it. Claim your prosperity. Live the abundant life that is your divine birthright. Remember always that the power within you is infinitely greater than any circumstance you will ever face. Remember that you are never alone, but always supported by an intelligence that loves you unconditionally and wants only your highest good. Remember that every challenge is an opportunity, every obstacle is a doorway, and every apparent setback is preparation for a greater victory. You are wealthy, you are prosperous, you are abundant. This is the truth of your being. Let it shine forth into your experience now and forever. In the words of the ancient scripture, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." You shall not want because you are connected to an infinite supply. You shall not want because the shepherd of your soul guides you into green pastures of prosperity. You shall not want because it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Receive the kingdom now, it is yours. Go in peace, go in prosperity. Go in the unshakable confidence that all is well and all manner of things shall be well. The law has been spoken, the seeds have been planted, the harvest is certain. Your wealth is not coming someday. Your wealth is here now. Open your eyes and see it. Open your arms and receive it. Open your heart and live it. And so it is.